early on, I would never do this anymore, but I've made like random videos about like, oh, here's how to like protect your assets. You can do this type of bit, whatever, like set. And it wasn't like incorrect info, but I don't want, estate planning clients. And there's one video I made that went super viral about like estate planning kind of, and I think I had like 4,000 leads, and I don't even have, a network of estate planning attorneys. So you need to be careful to stick to your niche, like stick to topics that your actual prospective clients would care about. Don't try to just say stuff that like maybe people kind of want to hear, but it's not going to be attracting the right type of people or building the right type of authority.
I'd love to kind of hear about you personally, how you have sort of begun. And we're talking about social media is the title of our, the main track, but you're an IP attorney as well. So maybe,
I'm like an IP attorney on social media, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how most people know me. So yeah, my name's Anna Janeja. I'm an IP attorney as well. And, patents, trademarks, copyrights, all of the above. And now that I've been on social media for a couple of years, I've definitely not only dealt with, having to be on social media, but I have a lot now of influencer clients or just social media issues that are affecting my regular business clients, regular corporate clients, and how IP affects them. So I've just really learned, so much about it, and being on social media obviously like helps too.
What was your start? Did you have a celebrity client, or did you just lean into this and knew you were going to lean into social media? Was there something that
No, I kind of happened on accident. I just like, posted some videos on TikTok and they kind of took off. I didn't really think anyone was going to see them. And then, a lot of people saw them, I guess. And then it kind of just started from there. It's so easy now to just say whatever you want and post a video. It takes like 30 seconds and you really never know what's going to happen. I think at the first like videos that I really talked about that kind of blew up, which were like my second or third videos on there, they were about like IP theft in China and all of that. So yeah, they were just, just saying whatever you want to say. It wasn't formal. It wasn't that, intensive, like educational, but it was just, I think back, people were very interested in that topic back then.
Well, that's great. And I see, how long ago was that you got started on TikTok?
Like 2021, I think.
That's kind of what it is about, starting a conversation, getting things going. How did you move from social media platform to actually having client discussions? What is sort of that next step that people need to take? And how do you
So I don't really have any discussions on social media. I really, especially now that I've been on it for a few years, I don't think it's productive to actually be discussing things on at least platforms like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. You're getting, if there's 50 million people watching a video and there's thousands of comments on it, most of them, half those comments are negative, so whatever. And then half those comments are just saying what they feel. At this point in my life, I'm not going to be engaging with that. How you kind of transition though clients into that is you just have to have a good funnel, like a good feed to do that. So, I mean, I have like a Calendly link in all of my social media. So if people want to book a call with an attorney, they can do so. They have to answer like 10, 12 questions. So it's not just like anyone can book it. They have to tell us who they are, what their, patent or trademark is, or their copyright issue. They have to kind of give us what they're looking for. And then, at that point, if they really have an issue that they need help with an attorney, they can book with us or they can contact us. But, I don't really answer DMs. I don't really answer comments. I'm just a little cautious with doing that as an attorney. I think if you're not an attorney, you could do that much more, safely.
But I think for the target audience, which of course is the entrepreneur, the inventor, maybe they're listening and they want to know how they can use social media now in 2025. Any advice you might share? I say hacks, social media hacks. But what would you say?
The number one hack, I think that for the vast majority of people who are probably watching this or listening, is you really just have to start and you kind of have to do it en masse. So the good thing is it's really easy to just create content now and like easily distribute it because everywhere likes video. So you could just make video content on one platform and then just have it everywhere. It's, so time effective to do that versus kind of creating for every specific platform. But I just think it takes, like, if you don't have any base audience right now and you're starting, you want to launch a product or some sort of brand and product or service, whatever it is, you just want to build that up at this point in time, unless you have a base, it is going to take more effort than it did a few years ago. Just like a few years ago, it took more effort than it did a few years prior to that. So you really kind of have to commit, and you kind of have to be able to push out a significant amount of content, as in like at least a few pieces plus of content a day for several months before you can really expect anything. I think what happened to me was a little bit of a fluke. I also have like a very, specific demographic that, was targeted unintentionally, but I think I was kind of a newer person in my niche. So if you're in a more saturated niche, if you're launching, I don't know what people might be trying to sell, maybe you're trying to, sell like your toys that you have some patents on or something. I mean, that's a huge, that niche is so saturated. You really are going to have to be able to create really unique content and in mass to be able to stand out. It's
Okay.
still very possible, but it's going to take, I would say, double the amount of work it took 5 years ago.
Okay. So it's quantity over quality.
Yes, but with quantity comes quality.
Ooh, that's not right there.
So
So
I
you
think
okay? Go
the
ahead. Yeah.
best thing like TikTok actually did for me personally as an attorney was it really taught me how to talk, because most lawyers just don't know how to talk. And once you figure out if you're selling any sort of product or service that you have to explain by talking about it, which a lot of people would, a lot of people are not going to have a product that's just so, you can like hold it up and everyone's going to say, wow, we're going to go buy it. That's not usually the case. You're going to have to use some sort of words. So like the better you can become at talking, the faster you can make people care about you, the better it's going to be, not just like for business, with like for your life too.
Sweet. That's huge advice.
I said a lot of things that, I didn't know people are going to see. So if you now have the consciousness that, yeah, anything you say, anything you do may go viral, and you might not want every person you ever know to see stuff, be cautious about that. But yeah, you have to post a lot more than you think.
Post more. Do you think? That's so good. That's my golden takeaway so far. Okay.
More than double even what you're doing right now.
More than double. My goodness. So what would you say is the next gem if we were to find as someone is moving a let's get really boring. I'm inventing a new gun container. Okay. I want to try to beat Mentos. This is a pretty cool idea, by the way. It's recyclable, holds lots of gum. I'm a big gum chewer. But you got the next version. And you've got this really cool design that's even more ergonomic, fits even more in there. It keeps it safe. How are you going to push that? If you're going to go social media and you want to get it out, I'm doing a lot of videos. What am I going to do now?
Yeah, I would say you're going to do a lot of videos. You want to get your product in the hands of a lot of influencers, which is a lot easier if you have a good social presence. I think the easiest way these days to launch an actual product, especially if it's more D2C and it's on a lower price end, I would say under $1,000. The easiest way, you want to have very, very, very good aesthetics and a very, very good brand. And then you just want to make sure you get it in the hands of like key people in the industry who are going to make it look cool. I'm like a busy person, so I don't like to, and I only allow myself to work like 25 to 30 hours a week, and I cut myself off. So I have to be like very efficient. So if I'm going to spend 20 minutes that day doing something for, marketing purposes wise, right? Then what's like the most I can do? Like in 20 minutes, I mean, now I could probably make like 10 videos in that time, but even if you're inexperienced, you can make a few videos, right? And post them in, 20, 30 minutes. And then any one of those could get like 100 million views. You really never know. You just, your ROI, like how much you're getting out of it, the potential for that is so much higher than like writing a blog. Though I know blogging and SEO and all of that is like a long-term game and all of that, I just think there's never really been a time before the last 5 years where a regular person, like you and me, could launch a product or have a business or anything and want people to see it and have visibility and just literally be able to go and do that whenever you want for free.
Yeah. If we're talking like your typical attorney, right? And say we're business attorneys and we're looking for like established businesses. We're not looking for younger startup companies, right? That aren't funded or anything like that. Is social media still going to be the place for us to find those folks? Or are we going to have to go to more traditional marketing techniques to get those folks?
No, you should always do social media. That's why I think video is just so good, because you can put it everywhere. So you can put it on YouTube, you can put it on LinkedIn, you can put it everywhere. I would say like there's definitely a difference in terms of like I'm also like someone who primarily, IP attorneys, like at least me, I mostly work with corporate clients. I would say like 75% of my work. We now onboard a lot of, influencers, celebrities, athletes, small businesses as well, sometimes when they need IP work as well. But still, the vast majority of like revenue is really coming from corporate clients. But I've gotten really massive deals on LinkedIn. I would say because I didn't really take any clients, from my old firm. Now I'm of counsel at a couple of firms too. But in terms of building like my own book of my own clients, I've gotten big deals on LinkedIn, multi 6-figure deals from social media, from things that were just totally cold. These aren't connections I had. These aren't clients I poached from other firms. These are cold approaches to me. So I don't know that I've gotten any really big deal like that from TikTok. I've gotten one or two from Instagram, but LinkedIn I've gotten several. So it's the same content that you can post everywhere. But if you make videos of yourself, especially when you're talking and you actually know what you're saying, or you can show your expertise and you can just have people get to know you, they are going to be pretty likely to hire you wherever they're from. I also get a lot of my videos and content like saved and then they're sent off to people, because maybe it's not an executive who's going to be on TikTok, but maybe it's their secretary, or maybe it's their niece or nephew or something that I said something and they sent it over, and then they, looked into me more, and then they like contact you. So it's kind of a snowball effect, but you also need to, this is one really important tip, actually, I'm going to say, is you really need to be careful about what you say and what you do. Like when I started on social media, obviously I had like no idea what I was saying. Like, I mean, I did, but I said a lot of things, I wish a lot of people hadn't seen, first of all. And then second of all, I said a lot of things about areas where maybe I didn't have enough expertise, and I didn't know how much people perceive you being an attorney on social media or a person on social media and saying things, and they just automatically assume you're that authority and they want to contact you for that. So I've made early on, I would never do this anymore, but I've made like random videos about like, oh, here's how to like protect your assets, you can do this type of bit, whatever, like set. And it wasn't like incorrect info, but I don't want, estate planning clients. And there's one video I made that went super viral about like estate planning kind of, and I think I had like 4,000 leads, and I don't even have, a network of estate planning attorneys. So you need to be careful to stick to your niche, like stick to topics that your actual prospective clients would care about. Don't try to just say stuff that like maybe people kind of want to hear, but it's not going to be attracting the right type of people or building the right type of authority. So like if you're an attorney and you're trying to get corporate clients, you want to stick to your topics that you have expertise. You don't want to go into, oh yeah, look at this car crash. Oh yeah, look at like what Elon and Trump are. You just need to be a little more careful and not chase like, yes, everyone's asking you stuff. You want to post something, because after a while you'll learn like there's little things you can say that will like trigger people and it'll go viral for sure, but you just need to stay away from that.
If I don't know anybody, I mean, he knows lots of famous people. I don't. How am I going to get an influencer to care about my new gum container or whatever the new widget is I'm trying to push?
Is this assuming that you know who the influencers are? You just don't know them, or you don't?
Yes, right. Okay, let's say I'm getting ready to do Shark Tank, and I know Mark Cuban's into NBA products related to basketball. They've got a new training device for pros that they'll be improving their free throw percentage by 20% or 15%.
Yeah. So I mean, the first step is identify like who are the influencers, who are people who either are using similar products or could use this type of product and make it, if they like it and people will think it's cool, that other people would want to buy it. So you have to identify who those people are. If it's some sports thing, I mean, I don't know, I have so many, I hate this because I hope they don't see this. I have a lot of basketball athlete clients right now, and I don't know anything about sports, but which is funny how much sports stuff I end up doing, because I do like a lot of NI and a lot of trademarks for athletes. But God, the only thing I know about sports, is like that Travis Kelce is Taylor Swift's boyfriend. That's like my sports knowledge extent. but you want to target all the athletes who are either actual athletes or the commentators or the bloggers, influencers, journalists surrounding the topic. You want to make a list of that, and you can do that easy now. You can literally just search like on Instagram, TikTok, even Google probably has a list of influencers in that niche. And then you just want to either send them your product or invite them on like an Instagram live or podcast or something, or you can do a brand deal, though that can get expensive for like a startup. So I would say there's lots of influencers that if you're a startup and you just kind of like pitch, especially if you are going on Shark Tank or you're about to kind of blow up or kind of make it seem that way, that they would be happy to like review your product. And if they use it, in a video that gets millions of views, that's a lot of exposure for you.
Okay.
To get your stuff into the hands of like influential people that would influence consumers or Shark Tank or whatever your goal is. But it's so easy. It's actually so easy. Like, I can't believe I have to say it, but you literally can just open up the Instagram app and search like basketball, whatever, pro, or like, what is it? Like score. I don't know what it would be, but whatever your word.
The helmet you wear as you're doing a free throw.
Yeah. Like,
and you dial in the spot.
Basketball equipment, and then see like the popular videos, see like who's making them, and just like contact them. The really interesting thing about LinkedIn and Instagram in particular, TikTok and Twitter are kind of like weird, but like when it comes to like DMs and stuff, but Instagram and LinkedIn in particular, you can literally DM or message on LinkedIn anyone, any famous person, any executive, any CEO, like anyone, and they usually respond. So, and most people have control of their own Instagram and LinkedIn accounts, even if they're not controlling their own YouTube and TikTok and stuff. Usually people have their own Instagram app on their phone, and they themselves are going to like read your message. And that's really like powerful. You can literally connect with like anyone then.
Anna, this brings up a good point. How do you navigate like your ethical obligation not to solicit clients?
I don't.
Yeah. So walk us through that. So you can DM people, right? But you're not soliciting necessarily. So you're just engaging them in a conversation.
So I don't DM anyone. I don't do any outreach. I just post like my content. We have a Calendly link. I don't even tell people to like book a content. If people are interested enough, they will go and click and book a link. Now, I think I may be overly cautious. I also, luckily now, I'm not really in the position where I'm looking for, to bring on a ton of new clients or chase work right now, or, I'm kind of in a different place in my business now. But at the beginning, even when I was starting and I had 0 clients, I mean, that's why I was posting like 7 videos a day, because I didn't have any client work. And I had like 2 free extra hours every day, but I just like created more content, and that's what I did. And I waited for like people to come in, and then you kind of figure out like, oh, this specific like word or script or whatever is going to get super viral and like bring in a certain amount of leads. And once you do that long enough and you have enough data that you should be tracking everything that's going on when you're posting, like what topic you're saying, what if one video did better or worse, or if one video brought in a certain type of, lead or customer or whatnot. I mean, you have to track it. A lot of people don't even do that, which I don't know like how you keep track of anything then, but I have like a full-time person who literally all she does is she tracks all of that. And so then I know like, okay, if I have too much work that month, I'm definitely not going to make this video with these specific words that I know are going to like make these type of clients, book and stuff like that. Versus, you can also have that on the flip side. If you need more work that month or you need more customers, then you want to use that more like viral script and things. And you can do that for any business. But I don't do any outreach. I think if you were in another business, like if you're a non-attorney though, you should do a lot of outreach. Now, I don't know any lawyers that are like going and asking for influencers to like talk about them and things. I have had my like cease and desist read out loud, my emails read out loud on the internet, posted all over Reddit. And I like usually will go try to make the client take it down, because it can be very detrimental and things to their case. Now, attorneys are different in that sense. Anyone who's non-attorney, you should definitely be wanting people to be talking about you. And my clients, I don't know what your splits are in your following splits or anything, but I mean, for obvious reasons, like my social media following is like 95% like male, and then but I do get some high profile like female influencers, and they're the ones that can kind of cause a lot of public issues. They want to read all their legal issues online and things. So like the vast majority of my following base and my client base is not interested in like, you know, what these little influencers or reality TV stars are doing back and forth to each other. Like it would detriment me like as an attorney if that was, you know, so I don't want that type of visibility, and you have to be careful, you know, it's just controlling your brand, right? So I, you know, caution, you know, clients and stuff away from that. And now I provision my engagement letter and all of that. But if you're not an attorney, or you maybe have more lifestyle brand or something that's more general to a lot of people, then you may want to just say that, hey, all publicity is good publicity, and just kind of like go forth with that. DM people, send them your products, do all of that, solicit, do everything you can. But attorneys, we just have different rules that we have to follow.